So Gary Nolan is saying that the UAPDA still has a shot. That a lot of the things could still happen that we thought were done for in the bill at the end of the year. So is that possible? Could that happen? I'm not sure. I don't know. But it is something that I have, and I think a lot of other people have already said this UAPDA thing is never going to happen, because the people who want to squash it have been squashing it and have continued to squash it. So what's different about it now? And I'm not going to tell you that after this clip, I'm going to show you that I'm going to feel any different. But I don't know. So let's get into this this clip, and I'll show you what he said on this podcast. And then you guys can, well, we're going to break it down, not just the fact that the UAPDA thing in general, but like the means of how it could potentially happen. And then talking about what happened with the election, how that ties in. So let's watch this clip. It's a longer clip. It's about 5 or 6 minutes. And I'll put in a link to the actual, the full show so you can check out the interview. But here's the clip itself.
Well, I guess my first question, do you think the election has had an effect on the way the UAP subject has been covered, both in the media, but in general when it comes to the US?
I mean, I don't think in the media it has changed anything. I think, especially with the people that I talk to and who work much closer with Congress than I do on the UAP matter, their expectations of what's going to happen, will one side or the other be more or less, UAP disclosure-ish than not? It's a really a mixed set of. I mean, I think people just don't know what's going to happen. I think in the last couple of days there's been some clarity about what the outcome might be. I certainly know that there are well-placed individuals that are known to the UAP community that are more hopeful, let's say, that Trump would win because they feel he might be more positive towards it, based on literally direct conversations with his immediate group. But these are politicians. You can't trust anything that they say. I don't really want to both sides it, but politics is about making determinations at the moment based on the needs of those who can affect the decider. And so I just don't know. Certainly, though, if the Republicans no longer hold the House, and then you don't have people like Rogers or Turner able to step in, we already know what they're like. And so not having them in a position of authority, full apologies to them. I'm sure that they do these things for their political reasons. In a positive way, doesn't mean that things are going to be fixed. It means that if the Democrats control the House, now we get to see who on the Democratic side is either pro or, con, in the same way that, Turner might be, or the others. So, there'll be a little bit of transparency on the right, so we'll know who our friends versus our opponents are. So, that's going to be a good thing. I mean, we already know that we have positive action on both sides in the Senate. And I don't think we could have had a bigger proponent than Senator Schumer, given his willingness to bring it forward twice, stand in front of the whole House, the whole Senate, and say what it is that he said. So, it will be interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned Schumer there, and I mean, it's not looking great for us to get any kind of Schumer amendment put into the NDAA for next year. Does that disappoint you, or do you think there are still other avenues that we can look at?
Well, I mean, when you say for next year, you mean the one that's going to be signed this year?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still hear rumblings that there might be an opportunity to put it in. through some backdoor effort. But yeah, I wouldn't put it as high as what it was before it got dashed, back in September or August. But I mean, what I would say is one way to look at that is that this was in many ways an omnibus bill. It had everything you could ever want in it. And by metaphor with papers, as I've been advising some other people, whether you're doing, actually, this is around the Nazca mummies. I literally have said, you need to do what it is that I do with my standard papers, or that I did with the Council Bluffs. You need to break it up into digestible pieces that don't have some, blinking red target on it. That says that's the weak point we can go after, and bring the whole thing down, or just for the sake of people who don't care one way or the other, but want to encompass what's in the bill. If the bill is 60 pages long, or at least the set of the bill that relates to UAP, and I've had direct conversations with Carl about this, so I'm not, it's like, if it's that big and it has so many things, and only somebody of Carl's intellect can encompass all of the reasons why, and he gave a talk at the Soul Foundation last year about exactly why he wanted it designed the way that it was. It's a beautiful image of what is possible, but maybe what you need to do is say, okay, well, 2 years in a row it didn't work. Maybe we need to take this part out and just get that passed, and then this part out and get that passed, and do that strategically, and then come back at the end with something that ties it all together. I mean, and that's exactly what I do with the science paper. That's how science works.
Okay, so this clearly was before the election itself, but what he's saying there, still very relevant to ultimately what happened. Now, Turner is not going anywhere. Rogers not going anywhere. So that portion of it is still concerning, where you're going to have those guys who can get involved. And it's also why, and Gary says it himself. He doesn't say like, well, there's a shot this thing's going to pass. He just says the people are still rumblings that people are going to still try to figure a way to make it happen, but he's not putting much stock into it. And I think that he's right for feeling that way. That's how I feel. That's how a lot of us feel, that it doesn't seem like this is ever going to be a thing. But he's talking about how great it could have been if people actually tried to do it. But he talked about the powers that be, and he also says it, I thought, very well with, these are politicians, man. And all of this stuff is to further them one way or another. It's not to say that they're not into the topic or care about the topic, but it's more about how they can benefit themselves and what it ultimately will cause for them. So do I think that, I think the UAPDA thing is done. This will be the last shot for it. You'll never see it in this iteration of it. Not going to happen. The question of now with the new regime, as we've discussed, will things actually happen? I think that the hearing on 13 is very telling about the overall attitude with both parties, because the first hearing in August was very bipartisan. With everything going on at the moment with the two parties, will that be the case? Will anything happen from this hearing? I even hesitated to put out a video today, because I'm going to do my UAP Tuesday tomorrow, but I'm going to be doing a live watch along on Wednesday for the hearing. And that's what this whole week really is going to be about. Even after the hearing itself, Thursday and Friday will be the follow-up to that. And did we get anything? If so, what was it that actually stood out? If not, how damaging was it, if at all? So we'll be discussing that. But I think it leads into all this. So anyway, I just wanted to give my thoughts on it. Wanted to tell you guys that this is something that Gary Nolan said. This is something that he had heard. He was also talking about how with what a lot of the people that are doing these, whether it's Burchett or Luna, obviously on that side of things, they're probably pretty thrilled right now because they might be able to knock on a few more doors now to get some things signed once the new regime takes place again in January. So that's why leading up from Wednesday's hearing will be very telling. So put your comments in there, put your thoughts in there. Let me know. As I tell you guys every single time, I am very thankful to you for all the support that you've given, all the positive comments. And if you want to help out the show and you can't help the show and you haven't become a member of the channel, obviously do that. But if not, please check out one of our wonderful sponsors. I'm going to tell you about them right now. And then I put the link in the description. You can sign up and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Let's talk about Via. And I love Via. Love them. So they are the premium federally legal cannabis product, and they are your perfect companion. They're farmed and crafted with care in the U.S. and trusted by over 500,000 customers. Via has a product for everyone. Unlock the power of nature with Via's organic and vegan hemp extracts, perfect for relaxation and rejuvenation. Via is the only lifestyle hemp brand. They use compounds found in hemp along with active plants extracts to create products with each specific effect in mind. They also have zero THC products. They're the industry leader of over 500,000 customers served. They're made in the USA. They have award-winning services as far as customer support. They have quality ingredients sourced from the finest hemp for your peace of mind and lab-tested and certified. Best part, affordable and accessible. So if you are 21, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code DTE to receive 15% off. What a deal. After you're purchasing, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Support our show and tell them that we sent you. DTE this fall. Enhance your everyday with Via. This is the easiest thing I've ever talked about, ever, on this show or of any show I've ever been on. Tile. This is the best. I'm telling you right now that I lose my keys all of the time. At least I did. My wife would say, how do you do that again? We were supposed to go somewhere. I was supposed to pick up her sister from the airport, and I couldn't find her. We're like, oh, my God, she's going to have to take an Uber. It's going to cost so much money now. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I don't have my keys. I can't find them. Luckily, I found them in time, but it took a lot of unnecessary stress in order to get there. And I don't have to do that anymore because with Tile, it could be for your keys. I mean, it's so many different things for your remote control. I have so many of them now, and I continue to use them and give them to my family. I can track where my kids are. I got a teenager, man. I got to know where her phone is. I got to know all these different things. It's so wonderful, and I can tell you also I'm giving it to my family from my dad. Is older now. I'm giving it to him so I can track him, know where he's going, how he's doing, if he's healthy. I'm able to do that, to know if anything's wrong. That's what Tile helps me do. So it really does. It takes out so much stress. I am telling you, if you don't already, they've been around for a bit. This is the time to get them. Get them. It's wonderful, especially for parents, especially for people who lose crap all the time like me. Get it. So family proof your family with Life 360's Tile trackers. You got to do it. You go to tile.com. Use that code DTE. You get 15% off. That's easy. So again, tile.com. Use that code DTE. This is a no-brainer. It's easy. I lose my remote control all the time. Not anymore. Tile.com. Use that code DTE.